Imagine Germany in the early 1800s. It was a time of great change and uncertainty, a period where the idea of a unified Germany was but a distant dream. It wasn't the unified country we know today. Instead, it was a collection of numerous small states, each with its own ruler, laws, and customs. Instead, it was a patchwork of small states, each with its own ruler. These states varied greatly in size and power, from large kingdoms like Prussia and Bavaria to tiny principalities and free cities. This wasn't a new phenomenon. For centuries, the Holy Roman Empire, a loose collection of German-speaking territories, had dominated the region. The empire was a complex and often unwieldy political entity. However, the empire was weak and inefficient. Its decentralized nature made it difficult to govern effectively, leading to frequent conflicts and power struggles among its many states. It finally dissolved in 1806, leaving a power vacuum in its wake. The dissolution marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter in German history. The Congress of Vienna in 1815 attempted to create a new order in Europe after the Napoleonic Wars. The diplomats aimed to restore stability and balance of power, but their efforts fell short in unifying Germany. It failed to unify Germany. Despite their best efforts, the German states remained fragmented and divided, each pursuing its own interests. Instead, it created the German Confederation. This was a loose association of 39 states intended to coordinate the economies and policies of the German territories. This was a loose association of 39 states, dominated by Austria. Austria's influence was significant, but it also faced competition from Prussia, another powerful German state. The Confederation was plagued by internal divisions and rivalries. The member states often disagreed on policies and priorities, leading to a lack of cohesive action. This fragmentation made it difficult for the German states to act together on the European stage. Their disunity weakened their collective influence and left them vulnerable to external pressures. It also hindered economic development. The lack of a unified market and consistent policies stifled growth and innovation. This lack of unity wasn't just a political issue, it had far-reaching consequences for the everyday lives of the people living in these fragmented states. It also had a profound impact on the lives of ordinary Germans. The constant political instability and economic barriers made life challenging for many. Trade barriers between the states stifled economic growth. Each state had its own tariffs and regulations, making trade cumbersome and inefficient. Different currencies and legal systems made travel and commerce difficult. Merchants and travelers had to navigate a complex web of local laws and currencies, adding to the cost and difficulty of doing business. The dream of a unified Germany, a nation-state that could rival the great powers of Europe, seemed like a distant hope, yet this dream persisted among many, especially intellectuals and nationalists. The desire for unification grew among intellectuals and nationalists. They envisioned a Germany that was strong, prosperous and united, capable of standing toe-to-toe with other European powers. They yearned for a strong and united Germany. This vision was not just about political power, but also about cultural and linguistic unity. This desire wasn't just about politics, it was about creating a sense of shared identity and purpose among the German people. It was also about cultural and linguistic unity. The German states shared a common language and cultural heritage, which fueled the desire for a unified nation. The stage was set for a dramatic change, a change that would be brought about through the cunning diplomacy and military might of one man, Otto von Bismarck. His vision and strategy would eventually lead to the unification of Germany, forever altering the course of European history. Amidst the patchwork of German states, two powers emerged as contenders for dominance, Prussia and Austria. These two states, each with their own unique strengths and ambitions, were on a collision course that would shape the future of Europe. These two states were locked in a bitter rivalry for control over the German Confederation. This struggle for supremacy was not just a matter of political maneuvering, but also involved intense military confrontations and strategic alliances. This rivalry wasn't just about territory or power, it was also a clash of ideologies and systems. The very essence of governance, society, and the future of the German-speaking peoples were at stake. Austria, with its vast multi-ethnic empire, represented the old order. This empire was a mosaic of different cultures, languages, and traditions, all held together under the Habsburg crown. The Habsburg dynasty, which ruled Austria, had long been a dominant force in European politics. Their influence extended far beyond the borders of their empire, shaping the political landscape of the continent. They favored a conservative approach, seeking to maintain the status quo and their own power within the German Confederation. This meant resisting any changes that might threaten their control or the delicate balance of their multi-ethnic empire. Prussia, on the other hand, was a rising power with a strong military tradition. Its disciplined and efficient army was a force to be reckoned with, and its leaders were determined to expand their influence. Located in northern Germany, Prussia was a more homogeneous state than Austria. This homogeneity allowed for a more unified and focused national policy driven by a sense of shared identity and purpose. It was dominated by a powerful landowning class, the Junkers. These aristocrats were not only influential in politics, but also played a crucial role in the military and economic life of Prussia. Prussia had been steadily gaining strength, its economy fueled by industrial growth and its military prowess feared across Europe. The rapid industrialization provided the resources needed to support a modern, powerful army. The rivalry between Prussia and Austria came to a head over the issue of Schleswig-Holstein. This seemingly small territorial dispute would have far-reaching consequences for both states and the entire German Confederation. These two duchies, located on the border between Denmark and Germany, were inhabited by a mixed population of Germans and Danes. The cultural and national identities of these regions were complex and contested. When Denmark tried to annex Schleswig in 1863, both Prussia and Austria saw an opportunity to assert their dominance. This move by Denmark was seen as a direct challenge to the balance of power in the region. Prussia, however, had a secret weapon, Otto von Bismarck. Bismarck's vision and strategic acumen would prove decisive in the coming conflicts. Bismarck, appointed Minister-President of Prussia in 1862, was a master strategist and a ruthless pragmatist. His ability to manipulate political situations to Prussia's advantage was unparalleled. He believed that Prussia's destiny was to unite Germany by force, if necessary. This vision of a unified Germany under Prussian leadership would drive his actions and decisions in the years to come. The Schleswig-Holstein question would be the first step in his audacious plan. Bismarck saw this conflict as an opportunity to weaken Austria and strengthen Prussia's position within the German Confederation. The clash over these duchies would set the stage for a series of wars that would redraw the map of Europe. These conflicts would ultimately lead to the unification of Germany and the establishment of Prussia as a dominant European power. Otto von Bismarck, a Junker himself, was a towering figure in German history. Born in 1815, he came from a family of the Prussian nobility, which shaped his conservative and authoritarian views. His early life was marked by a strong sense of duty and a desire to see Prussia rise to greatness. He was a master of Realpolitik, a political philosophy based on pragmatism and power rather than ideology or morality. This approach allowed him to navigate the complex and often treacherous landscape of European politics with remarkable skill. Bismarck believed that Prussia should pursue its interests ruthlessly, even if it meant going to war. He saw military strength as a crucial tool for achieving political objectives and was not afraid to use it. Appointed Minister-President of Prussia in 1862, Bismarck quickly made his mark. His leadership style was assertive and uncompromising, and he wasted no time in implementing his vision for Prussia. He defied the Prussian parliament, raising taxes and expanding the army without their consent. This move was highly controversial and faced significant opposition, but Bismarck was undeterred. He famously declared that the great questions of the day would be decided not by speeches and majority votes, but by blood and iron. This statement encapsulated his belief in the primacy of force in international relations. Bismarck was a cunning diplomat and a shrewd observer of international politics. He had a keen understanding of the balance of power in Europe and knew how to exploit it to Prussia's advantage. He understood that Prussia could not achieve its ambitions alone. Building alliances and isolating enemies were key components of his strategy. He needed to isolate Austria diplomatically and find allies who would support or at least not oppose Prussian expansion. This required careful maneuvering and a deep understanding of the motivations of other European powers. His first move was to secure an alliance with Austria in the Schleswig-Holstein question. This alliance was a tactical decision, aimed at achieving short-term goals while setting the stage for future conflicts. Together, the two powers defeated Denmark in 1864. This victory was a significant step in Bismarck's plan, but it was only the beginning. But Bismarck's true aim was not to share power with Austria. He saw Austria as a rival that needed to be removed from the German political landscape. He was already planning a war to drive Austria out of the German Confederation and establish Prussian dominance. This conflict, known as the Austro-Prussian War, would be a decisive moment in German history. Bismarck was not just a warmonger. He was a visionary who understood that a unified Germany would be a major power on the European stage. His ultimate goal was to create a strong, cohesive German state under Prussian leadership. He was a visionary who understood that a unified Germany would be a major power on the European stage. He believed that Prussia had a duty to lead this unification, and he was willing to use any means necessary to achieve this goal. He believed that Prussia had a duty to lead this unification, and he was willing to use any means necessary to achieve this goal. His policies, however controversial, would change the face of Europe forever. His policies, however controversial, would change the face of Europe forever. Bismarck's legacy is a testament to the power of strategic thinking and the impact of determined leadership on the course of history.